Mm. No, that's what's up, man. It's been a while since you've been over here, man. I'll be asking about you all the time.
Yeah, man. I think it was just a miscommunication because I'm always open to coming on to the
Oh
show.
man, you and mind you that's my when we asked, because I had asked about you months ago, and I'm like, damn man, I want him to come back.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple conversations where I was like, you want to know something? JP knows this a little bit more than us. This is I personally say this was above my pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's certain conversations that I know for a fact that, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't know the knowledge about it, it's best to be somebody in here who knows more than you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely understand, and I guess maybe I underestimate myself, but I don't see myself as no necessary like professional in any sense. But on certain topics, like definitely like like I said before, because of my involvement in ADOS, like and that being such a very heavy, like historical and data driven space, like it's just a lot of stuff that we end up coming in contact with and learning. I will say for this Juneteenth stuff, not to say on short notice, but I haven't I had to take a little bit of notes and stuff just because it is a lot of information. So yeah. Let's see.
Damn, man, JP, I'm just sorry to let you know you just got exposed, man. We live right now the whole time, man. I'm sorry about it.
No, you good.
I'm just jabbing with you. Go ahead, King. Do your thing, man.
No, definitely. Hey, I'm back again with some of my friends. I'm not gonna say a new friend because he's been my friend and been the friend of and he's a part of the gang. It's Chaos Culture Radio. This is Prince Hakeem.
This is your man Ronnie Ron.
It's your boy New Jordan. Let's go. Let's get it.
And special guest JP.
No, you can't say special guest. You've been here.
Nah, JP, man. We back at it.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but I'm back on the block, bro.
Yes, sir. No, but this one right here, I had to bring him back in because I consider him to be a historian. He got all the information. He be going in. So I was like, I had questions. I want to know because I think everybody knows this past Sunday was June 19th, which is celebrated Juneteenth. So I want to know like the history about it. And the question is, should black people celebrate Juneteenth? Because Joe Biden put it into law that it's now a federal holiday. So should black people be celebrating Juneteenth? So I know JP's he's very informative. And he's gonna weigh in on this because I want to know for my own personal sake.
Okay, so I have to ask more specifically. When you say should black people celebrate Juneteenth, do you mean as the diaspora or do you mean in within the United States? Like
with the United States and just say the whole spectrum, everything,
right,
and the whole entirety.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer to that is absolutely we should celebrate it. And black people were celebrating it prior to Joe Biden and the United States Congress passing it in 2021. Yep. Like we were already celebrating. So, what I will say is that it was a lot more celebrated early on, and then it lost some of its fervor over time because I was actually learning that it became to be seen on the international stage as un-American to celebrate Juneteenth because of the attachment to slavery. And so so a lot of people stopped celebrating it as boastfully as they used to back in 1866, which was the first year that they actually started celebrating it, but it became more popular in the 1920s and 1930s. So I'm actually very happy that black people are celebrating it today. As somebody who is African American studies, who was African American studies major, history major, and also just a genealogist, I do African American family trees. I believe that it's a very powerful holiday because this is our Fourth of July, our Independence Day. So yeah, we definitely should celebrate it.
Mm.
Yep.
Now let me ask you a question.
hmm
Do you feel there's a couple of things I want to touch on there?
Okay.
How do you feel about the mockery that went on when they made it is? Let's talk about the white boy who had filed copyright claims for Juneteenth. Then you got Walmart who was selling ice cream and all that other craziness. I was like, I kind of feel when they made it a federal holiday, I kind of felt it lost its luster, in my opinion. Because let me tell you, when I was a kid, we celebrated Juneteenth because it was spoke to, we went to a black school. And black people, especially in Attapata, I remember celebrating it. You feel me?
Right.
Always knowing this, hey, just Juneteenth. Mind you, I'm a kid from a diaspora. Let's just get that clear. But I went to African American schools, so I partaked in Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa, remember that vividly, in Juneteenth. So now when I fast forward now being an older man and seeing how the day they made it a national holiday, the lack of respect came in. I was livid when I heard this white boy filed a copyright claim on Juneteenth. It took an uproar to get him to stop.
Yeah. Like that part of it, I absolutely 1000% agree with it. And I look at it from the perspective like this: like America is a country that is ran on propaganda. Like that's how they keep people in control. That's how they control the narrative. And it is also a capitalist society. So people are going to try to capitalize on anything. I was just talking to somebody the other day and they were saying like there's no entity or issue within America that is not capitalized upon. And so the issue that I have, for example, like, I see a lot of people who may not understand the significance of the holiday and who may not understand the intricacies of American propaganda who are falling into it. So for example, I have former friends and coworkers who worked at Target who, Target is selling certain t-shirts, and those t-shirts have images of black people with African headdresses. They have the wrong color schemes associated with the holiday. And these are the issues that I have because, and that's what I was most excited about talking about tonight, is the controversy around Juneteenth, about the colors, about the flags, about the way in which black people are actually celebrating it, which are not in line with the historical celebration. But that part I agree with, because I think that first and foremost, I think that the holiday was brought up and made to be a federal holiday by Congress and by Joe Biden because they wanted to do some symbolic gesture to pull black voters in, because they know that they have not done anything significantly for us during this administration. And so that's what I know for a fact that was like a power move for them. But I think that at this day and age that a lot more black people are awake to what is going on, and they can see past the games that are being played in our community. And I think that black people caught on to that one, but it don't hurt to have a day off, you know what I'm saying, for a federal holiday. So I think that it's good and bad, if that makes sense.
I love that you spoke that, and it does say that it's good and bad, but then we're talking about, this is where my issue comes in. You feel me? Now, I love black people.
Of course.
I love black people. I study black people. I study diaspora people, and I also study the people who took me in and loved my family at first, which is Black Americans.
Right.
This is an issue that I got. America can't do that to the Asians. Do you see anybody making an Asian holiday a national holiday? Name me a national Asian holiday in America. They'll damn near riot to put niggas in place before they do that. Pause for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Us, we do not rally behind stuff the way other races do about this stuff. That's my only get up with when it comes to any of this stuff. This Juneteenth stuff has been a big debacle the day it became a national holiday. There was there was an allure of it prior before this. It was like that unspoken stuff, but we knew we celebrated it. But we about to celebrate Juneteenth.
No, but the thing, Hakeem, the only reason why now they put it into law is because of the fact I think ever since the death of George Floyd, they had to put something there to appease Black people. Because remember, by the time Texas banned celebrating Juneteenth.
Yeah, for the longest, because they were still enslaved longer before everybody else over here.
Correct.
Now, but here's the thing: fuck a holiday, cut the check, nigga.
Absolutely. That
Black people. You go ahead.
No, I was just. It's funny because I just saw a post about that today on Facebook where somebody was saying basically Black people ask for reparations, but they end up giving us a holiday.
Listen, close the wealth gap.
And the thing is about it, Hakeem, it's like since the Democrat made it a national holiday, they gonna use this for the next election.
100%.
They gonna use it. And my thing is, it's like, and I know that probably half of the Black that Democrat they'll see it, but I feel like some Black people that still won't see it because they are so
Not even that, Jordan. Even the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, consider Juneteenth a national holiday. That's why on Florida, some places are still open and still working.
Yeah, and I love it. I love my race. I love my races out and open. Go ahead, brother.
Mm-hmm. No, I was gonna say in California too, they're gonna make it my bad. They're gonna make it a national holiday here about making it time and a half here too. So, like I said, I'm cool with it. But like I said, with the Democrats, they gonna take that, they're gonna use it in the next election, And it's and for me, it's like, I can see that. I can see that. That's not gonna fly. With some people, it's they're not gonna see that.
No, but the problem is with the reparation, Hakeem and JP and Jordan. Remember, they see it's actually in an amendment. It actually stated that they see Black people as 3/5 of a human being. So that means they don't see us as profitable at all. Even though we may see some form of growth, but society as a whole, they do not see us profitable than the Asian, than the Jewish, or any other community. That's the only reason why I think they don't want to give us reparation.
Well, I don't think that's the reason.
Go ahead, JP. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, my bad. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that's the reason. I think when you look at the history of reparations being paid out by the American government, there is a precedent that is already set as it relates to the Japanese, as it relates to America's handling of Jewish reparations through the French, as it relates to different lands that have been given to Native Americans. The reason why they don't want to pay ADOS people, African Americans, reparations is because of the price tag. Mm-hmm. It's estimated to be anywhere between $50 to $90 trillion that the United States either denied or extracted from African Americans. Yep. And that what that means is that it would fundamentally change this country overnight. If you close the racial wealth gap and you pour over generations, not in one check or anything like that, but if you pour that type of money into this community, white people lose their advantage instantly.
100%.
And that's the whole point of racism. That's the whole point of white supremacy, is to create an advantage for them. So that's why they don't want to do it, and that's why they have gone, to very with extreme heights, extreme heights to deny us this, even the conversation, or to take the conversation in a different direction.
And what you're saying, JP, is facts. But however, if what you're saying is to be the truth, then how come when they do give reparations to the Asian community, mind you, the Asian community is growing financially and in the aspect of education. So it kind of, at the end of the day, it kind of hurt white people, because remember, if the resources are given to the Asian people, they taking that resources and they're giving it to their own community, to their own country. Go ahead, Hakeem.
And the Asians are one of the ones who have the lowest voting count. They
Yeah.
don't vote.
Yeah.
They don't. A lot of them don't vote.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't vote.
Mhm.
Economically, they're a powerhouse.
Yeah.
So what I would say to that is that is actually the reason why all of these groups get the attention. It's because Black people in this country are a captured electorate.
Mhm.
And that means that regardless of what is said, what is done, we will show up to vote no matter
Mhm.
what. For Democrats, we have given 80 to 90% of our vote as the base of the party to the Democratic Party since about 1968, right? So for almost, we're about 54 years in and have not gotten a real exchange since the Civil Rights Movement with affirmative action and all that. So that's the reason why other groups get things so easily that we don't. And in part, that is a part of our responsibility and our fault, because we have allowed for our political culture to die out in our community, where you cannot. It's so difficult to pull Black people into a room and to talk about politics, and we don't understand the role that politics plays in our lives. We don't understand that politics is everything. Like, it's your kids' education, it's the price of the food you eat, it's all of that stuff. Like, everything is politics, but we can't seem to catch that translation. Go ahead.
And to add to that, being in especially in these large cities like in New York, especially in LA, like moving to Miami, it's pretty much Democrat, but here in LA, it is deeply Democratic here, like I've never seen before. Deep. Like anywhere I go, Democrat. And I'm talking about, not just from, the government, but local and state as well. And just to see that spurring around, it's like, yo, people don't know it's not just the, voting for your local government. It also the fact, who you got in the state and who you got in locally. And I feel like, especially our Black people, they really don't think about voting our local official. And that's very, very important to our community.
See, that's the thing is, to me, the whole issue with Juneteenth, I think the only reason why I think it should be celebrated, because it got to show people, especially the Black community, how we have to be a powerhouse like the other communities are doing. By them being able to be a powerhouse, we're able to create laws, regulate our own community. The thing is, they don't see us doing that. What they see us doing is voting Democrat all the time, and you see the Democrat always fail us all the time, always, and always will fail us. Go ahead, Hakeem.
You go ahead. Okay. Go ahead, JP. I'll go after you.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say, to me, the disconnect is we don't have, like, people are constantly, Black people are constantly talking about financial literacy and all of these other things. But the problem is there is no, people aren't taking serious political education. To me, political education is like, it's like the glasses that you put on to see through the bullshit. That's what that is. It allows for you to understand the purpose behind what politicians are doing. So, for example, like they will name policies, No Child Left Behind, but the policy will have the reverse effect to it. Like, political education allows for Black people to understand the chess moves that politicians are making, either on their behalf or against them. And we don't have the political education we need to be able to kind of decipher the code. And that's where ADOS steps in. So go ahead.
No, 100%. I agree with you 100%. Like being having that political education and having the economics works hand in hand. It has to work hand in hand. But the thing about a lot of us is we're so emotional when we're voting, we don't even see the silver lining behind things. My vote is for sale. I don't care if you Republican. I know either party don't love me at all. I wish we had our own party. That's another conversation. But the point is, instead of voting just because everybody voting, we need to vote based on policy. I've always stressed this 100%. I'd rather have an open racist than somebody who laughed behind my back and give me false promises. Now, coming to this point where this whole Juneteenth stuff is,
Right.
I love celebrating history. I love it. But I'm gonna be real with you. I'm tired of talking about it.
Mhm.
We always talk about history, how good we was, the holidays and stuff, and the kids are not getting adequate education. They're not closing the opportunity gap.
Mhm.
We have a lack of black people representing in tech, healthcare, weapons manufacturing, manufacturing this and this and that. It's more conversations to have than holidays. Listen, this is a beautiful holiday. First, let me remind that this is a beautiful holiday to represent.
Right.
But we need to come together for an idea that benefits us. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
I don't know no other person that's patriotic than black people.
Mhm.
When it comes to us, we're patriotic about our stuff, but we're not patriotic with our dollars or our political opinions.
Preach. Facts.
So
Facts.
I think what I would say, okay, so when you tie it in at the end, the holiday, I don't see it as an issue in the sense that it's a moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for example, not too far, and you guys can give me the date, but I remember going down my timeline and seeing all my Haitian friends celebrating the Flag Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just a moment. It's just a moment, but it could be a moment within the scope of what we're talking about as it relates to doing the politics and getting the politics. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't celebrate Flag
Day. Okay.
Fuck that house. Listen, I'm on. Listen, there's a debt that got to be paid to Haiti.
Absolutely.
It's receipts, nigga. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, nigga.
Right.
I got cousins here asking for money to escape to Guyana and Mexico.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to? I get where you coming from. It is a moment. I love the moments. I did that when I was a kid. But the thing about it is the narrative has to be changed a little bit different. Listen, I'm a big component in saying niggas in the diaspora here need to put aside their shit, and we need to support the narrative of Black Americans. Because here's the thing. If diaspora niggas was to get behind Black people's situation, because the thing is, they confuse a lot of us with y'all. And a lot of us don't support y'all. It's facts. We only support our own narratives. Facts. At the workhouse, in the companies, at these healthcare places. Oh, no, I'm not like them niggas.
Yeah.
Facts. That has to change. Once that will change, then I can see our brothers and sisters here saying, hey, the debt has been paid. Let's go rally behind the Zoes and let's go rally behind the Jamaican niggas.
That's exactly it. And that's what needs to be understood is that when you take down, we're in the belly of the beast of white supremacy. That's just what it is. America is the most powerful and efficient form of white supremacy on earth. It just is. So helping ADOS people or African Americans to get reparations here creates the domino effect that goes throughout the diaspora, where I know for a fact that the next diasporic country to be able to receive reparations will absolutely be Haiti, because these are the two most drawn out fundamental cases for reparations that are documented. There was just a detailed article that came out in the New York Times that discussed. You saw,
I seen it
about essentially the ransom that Haiti had to pay back to the families of the French slavers.
$21 billion.
Correct. Fact.
Right. And so if we know and can quantify what is owed, why is it not being done? And in part, that's why I say it has to do with the political education. And you're right in the sense that holidays are just kind of like symbolic. We got to cut through the bullshit to get to the policies that matter. And we also have to do the work of, I'm a big advocate of that, doing the work of, finding the allies and helping them to bridge the gap to educate a lot of these people. Because I think that a lot of Black immigrants in particular who come into America like any other group of immigrants. They don't require people to learn our history before they get here.
Oof.
And so they are propagandized
Oh,
through television about our image. So when they come in, they tend to, feed back the same white supremacist tropes about us. And so I understand that, but we still have to deal with the consequences of that ignorance. And we have to get people in the room. It just is what it is. If I was in Haiti, not to belinger the point, but if I was in Haiti, or if I was in Cameroon, or if I was in South Africa, I would give deference and respect to the native-born group that's there, and I would follow behind what they're trying to do. That is not what happens in America, unfortunately. And there has to be a hierarchy based on contribution and cost in this country, and people have to fall in line with what we're trying to do because it's in their best interest. Regardless, in the home, people may maintain their cultural and ethnic identities, but at large in America, Black immigrants have been integrated into our community.
No,
but some people might get angry with me by saying this, but I think there should be some ban on certain things to allow certain people into this country. There should be an immigration ban for a certain period of time because there's some issues here that Blacks has to face and get resolved before allowing other Blacks to come in. Because now you have other Blacks coming in, taking the resources of America and bashing America that's here and calling us no good. We don't know what we're doing. We more like, go ahead, Hakeem.
I support you 100%.
Oh, you support me 100%.
100%. Listen, ship all them niggas back.
And like what JP is saying, not being even educated in that aspect of our history. They're coming in, they're taking all our resources, and they're taking it back to their land. Even though they African, even though they Haitians, even though they go ahead.
You know how many Nigerians, Ghanaians, Haitians benefit off affirmative actions?
Mm-hmm.
Going to college?
Yeah.
You know how many of them benefit them and they don't do not one diddly squat stuff for people in Black America?
Yeah.
Yep.
It should be a required law. When you come here, you have to take a Black history class if you're an immigrant. If you look like us, you have to take a Black immigrant class of the history of slavery up into the Renaissance, up into the Harlem Renaissance era until today.
Yep.
But the problem is
2 years. No, I think it should be 2 years.
It should be 2 years. But the problem is we are so lax about this type of stuff. We don't oust nobody. We don't put a lot of these people in check. And this is the reason why we have this. I even tell you about some coon in Minnesota. I forgot where he's from. He say, "Oh, when I get in office, I'm gonna stop Black history, man." I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah, that was in Michigan. That was a Nigerian person. Yeah.
Wow.
Unless it was another person. Yeah.
I say, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't even be here, nigga.
Right.
Yep. That's what they do. Yep.
You see, but here's the issue though too. A lot of the Black Americans are not checking people.
That's the thing. That's the problem we have.
We're not checking people. We're not holding people accountable. And I'm saying this because I'm sitting here watching. Don't get me wrong. Every opportunity I get, I check my own people and I check people from other places. Hey, hold on a minute. I grew up around Black folks. I'm a nigga myself. I'm around them. Johnson, Brown, Plummer. I'm just telling you names of people I grew up from the sandbox.
Right.
So don't get me wrong. I supported their holidays because they embraced me. I ain't never listen. At one point in time, you forget you Haitian sometimes. I used to forget that sometimes as much as I embrace the culture. So there's a love there that I have. Don't get it twisted. I love where my mom is from, but I also got to understand the pain that my brothers are feeling.
Right. See, like right now, we cannot go to China and change China's holiday. We're going to get killed.
What?
We're going to be style. You
know what I'm
saying? That's the policy they have in place. Go ahead, Hakeem.
Listen, one more thing too. This is an issue I got too. Every Black American should get automatic citizenship to any Black country. Y'all niggas there should be a mat welcoming y'all to Haiti.
Right.
A mat, listen, a mat, a road carpet welcoming y'all to Haiti. A road carpet welcoming y'all to Ghana, Benin, Togo, Trinidad, Jamaica, a gold mat with flowers, automatic citizenship, opportunities to invest. No.
And
Yeah.
I
completely agree.
That's what they do when you first go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You should get that special type of treatment.
Basically.
Yeah, I agree 100% because what we see, what we've seen happening since after the Immigration Act of 1965, but really around the time of the 1980s with the influx of Black immigrants into the country and immigrants from East Asia, more so dark-skinned people, is this one-way exchange where people are coming into America for resources, but there are no benefits set up in those other home countries for African Americans to be able to partake. And I think more recently we saw the year to return in Ghana, which many people, especially within ADOS, saw as like a marketing ploy to kind of pull African Americans back in so that they can siphon off resources.
Yeah,
that's so it really is a form of exploitation of African Americans. And it's just very interesting because, and not to cut you off, but or not to take over, but it's just very interesting because
go ahead, ride
what you see is a socialization of Black immigrants who come into the country and who put on the costume of and I'm not even talking about second generation because there's a difference, although it is problematic, but they put on the costume of African Americans because of the popularity of our culture, our language, the way in which we speak around the, not just around the country, but around the globe, right? And so they take that part, but then when you go on people's Twitters, like on a lot of these Nigerians' Twitters, you'll see them talking about Akatas, right? And calling us derogatory names. Or some people will call us Yankees. So, and kind of over exaggerating their experiences with us, right? Like this whole, African booty scratcher thing, not realizing that we have a culture of jonesing and ranking and cracking on each other, right? Playing the dozens and not understanding that we were calling each other that because most of us had never even come in contact with a continental African person until like adulthood, depending on where you live. So there's a game that's being played, and that's why I know ADOS gets so much pushback because there's never been a moment where Black Americans have said, "No, we putting the gate up. We wrapping our culture, we wrapping our history around ourselves." And there's a like you just can't get into this club. I can't go to Nigeria and say, "Oh, I'm Igbo," even though my earliest ancestors might have been. I can't go anywhere in the Caribbean and say, "Oh, I'm Jamaican." Whereas people can come to this country, like Barack Obama, who his father being Kenyan, or Kamala Harris, and be identified as African American. It's a very dastardly thing that has happened, and we have to break that shit up and make people get uncomfortable. So it just is what it is. So I agree with you on that.
No, you speaking some great information, and it's just showing us that what he was saying, that our policies need to change. We need to vote people in power that's going to really benefit the Black community, and to put in policy that's going to benefit the long haul. Because now you having, like you say, you're having people from other nations and other countries coming over here, identifying themselves as African American, which they're not. They're not supporting us 100%, and they do the old total opposite. And then something happened in America, they quit to bash their own people within America. You get what I'm saying? So that's the whole problem we're having within our community, and I'm noticing that a lot as I continue to read and continue to educate myself. You see how that people in Australia ain't really for the people in the United States. They're trying to capitalize and trying to take over, and Black Americans need to be aware.
Right, and that requires a movement, that requires a groundswell. Nothing in this country, as Yvette Carnell has said, nothing in this country has come to pass for African Americans without a movement behind it. Whether it was the abolition movement, whether it was the freeing of slaves and the advocacy of Frederick Douglass in the ear of Abraham Lincoln, telling him that you got to free the slaves to win the war. Whether it was, all of the heroes of the civil rights movement after the death of Emmett Till, pushing for civil rights and the end of Jim Crow segregation. You always have to have a movement behind what you're pushing for to get those policies, or it's not going to work. And that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a movement around reparations, a movement around the transformational Black agenda that is inclusive of all Black people in America, because we need policies that create fairness. There is not just fairness, but reparations really is about advantage. We're not talking about equality. We're talking about advantage, because you have to, if you remove the consequences of white supremacy in our lives, we would be living a very different life today. Many of us will have generational wealth. Many of us will be operating in different industries. But you have it now to today to where African Americans are only represented in about 13 different occupations. And most of and much of that is through government. That's where a lot of the so-called Black middle class, because there is none, was stabilized through government jobs like the post office, police and all that stuff. So yeah, we need movement work.
No, it 100%, man. And these conversations need to have on a constant basis and to rally behind these type of things. Because subsequently, let's be honest about it. The ADOS movement, what y'all going to achieve subsequently, everybody going to benefit who is non-ADOS. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, non-ADOS, half ADOS, 3/3 of an ADOS, or half ADOS, half diaspora. Like my niece is half ADOS and half from the diaspora.
Yeah.
My other nephew, he's half ADOS, half from the diaspora.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So when we think about it, like who do we like? Who you supposed to support and stuff like that. But the thing is, for me, and I want to tell you this because I be in these spaces sometimes. I be on Twitter sometimes. I love to hear Tariq Nasheed roast them, get at the Ethiopians, and this like this. But for me, and I'm involved in a couple conversations on TikTok. My only issue is we get into these conversations and there seems to be no resolution at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And everybody get riled up. We get the spirit of Ifatunde and all this stuff like that. But there's still to see no common action behind it. You feel me? I don't see the ADOS page getting 10, 13,000 subscribers. Or I don't see a lot of shit going like this. And I'm saying to myself, this shit's kind of getting frustrating for me. You feel what I'm trying to see?
And the thing about that,
go ahead. No, you're good.
The thing about that, like I said, the thing about that, it's like I say, if we can do that, and having our different tribes, there is so much power there that we like Black people don't know about. It's like we have that power. It's like, other races, to me, they're scared of us, yo. We have so much power that we could change everything, yo.
Right.
And I really, really feel that, yo. We definitely have that power, but like I said, with a lot of our Black people, we don't see that.
So you said something earlier that I have to speak to about, and y'all know I've mentioned this before about Tariq Nasheed. Like, we denounce him in all ways because
FBA.
FBA. We denounced FBA and Tariq Nasheed. They're not serious. He came in and he actually created his own version of ADOS because he wanted to create a cash funnel for himself. And because he already had the popularity.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's why he took off. So let me just say that first, because if any ADOS person hears this, they're going to come for y'all and they're going to come for me. And that's like, we just don't, we don't mess with him at all. And he's problematic for our politics. But in terms of resolution, we have to kind of understand like that we're in the very early stages of this. So the frustration is there, but what we're doing as an organization is we're moving toward getting offline and taking the political education that we have that we can weaponize in our along this journey in our fight for reparations. And we're now starting chapters, right? So just like the NAACP has chapters all around this country, ADOS is going to have chapters all around this country, and they're rolling out in the summer. Today is actually the first day of summer. So look out for that very soon. And what we're asking people to do, ADOS people and those who are allies who understand the importance of falling in line and working with us, is join this chapter, a local chapter in your city and in your state, so that you can get active on the ground to pull up. So like, for example, I live in the DMV area, and a lot of us are organizing and learning who are the names of these candidates, what are their proposals. Well, let me show up to a town hall and get on record. What are your thoughts on reparations? Do you support it? It's for ADOS people. And it's not until we start to do these things on a local level, because all politics is local, and work our way up to the national stage where you will start to see change. And in the midst of doing that, we do have to have these uncomfortable conversations. And you can't have people like Tariq Nasheed and all of these other kind of like agents of chaos who come in because the conversation is popular to make money off of it. These are very serious conversations. I have a good friend who is ADOS, who is married to a Cameroonian man, and they have kids now. And I go in there and I talk to them about these things. And some of this stuff might be uncomfortable, but you have to have those conversations, because I just see it has shown itself to be very problematic, where we're trying to organize, and you have people who look like us who are not African American or ADOS, like, are the ones who have the microphones in the rooms, because white people are using them kind of as buffers in different spaces, in corporate spaces and academia, as the Black person in the room, but it's the wrong Black person. And so we have to correct that. And that's not a pretty sight, but it has to be respectful. You can't partake in like the demeaning conversations that Tariq Nasheed has, because those are very xenophobic conversations. Even though I know some people understand, like, see it in a different way, but those are very xenophobic and homophobic conversations, and that's not something that we support as ADOS at all. So yeah.
What is ADOS' opinion about Juneteenth? Do they support it or do they don't support it?
Oh, we absolutely support it. You mean from the federal perspective?
Yeah, from the federal perspective.
We absolutely support it, but we also, like I said before, we understand that this was a ploy to kind of replace the call for reparations. Like we got reparations on the national stage in 2020. They know that we're coming. They know that we're here, and they're trying to throw any and every other thing in the way. So we support reparations, but we don't support the action of this administration and of Congress in trying to use symbolism to replace transformational policies and reparations. So yeah. Yep.
Go ahead. I can't about to say something.
No, yeah. I'm just saying he touched on a lot of great points, and I wanted to point out that just the point that he mentioned about Tariq Nasheed, we have so many, since y'all created ADOS, y'all have like 6 or 7 splinter groups now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
When the Nation of Islam happened and a couple niggas got mad, you got the God bodies, then you got Muslim Incorporated, you got this, so many splinter groups, but nobody fighting for one accord. And that's the point that I was even saying, that when when we can close that gap, we can really start to make some numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
that was a big aspect to take religion out of it. The problem with us, like, our religion always played the big part. Sorry, JP, go ahead.
No,
your lighting is crazy good, my nigga.
Man, I'm sitting in front of my computer and it keep going out. I think my mouse or whatever. But
no, I'm just saying you like real like bright. I could see your face clear and shit.
Yeah, because I be doing a lot of zooms and stuff. So, I got the whole setup going already.
I'm waiting for my ring light to come. You see, nigga, I'm using the flashlight. Look.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Oh my bad. Just speak to your point about
Yeah.
strength in numbers, because I do believe that you have to have strength in numbers, but you also have to have the right people. And what happens is, like for ADOS, we're very serious. Like the political education, the amount of books we read. What you have is a lot of people who have come into the movement who haven't done the work, and they're not interested in doing the work. They're interested in the lineage part of it, and they want to have debates and talk. And you can't work with those people. You just can't. So I understand what it looks like from the outside, like, but what I know is that that will be corrected as we start to do chapters and start to recruit on the ground. Because at the end of the day, like it could, like there's only one original, and that's what ADOS is. We are the original, and everybody knows that when there's an issue or a story on the national scene, like the reparations situation in California, they know to go talk to the two people who started ADOS, because they know that we're the ones who are actually pushing for policy. We're the ones who are in the trenches fighting against the Harvard universities who are trying to smear us, and the Angela Rye's and the Joy Reids. We're the ones taking all of those. And so I understand what you're saying. I wholeheartedly believe that, you know, it's a show of power to have these numbers. But unfortunately, it's just certain people that can't come with us, and we cannot afford to have people who will demean or will say the wrong thing in public spaces that that make us to look not serious. And that's what we saw with this whole campaign in South Carolina, or where the young man was running. Like you have to sit at the feet of the people who know this stuff, who like the Yvette Carnells and Antonio Moores, who have created this whole conversation. There is no FBA. We don't recognize them, but there is no FBA. There is no Friedman. There is no anybody else without those two individuals and ADOS. So it's coming. The numbers will grow back, but you have to do it organically. You just can't go to war with anybody. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So you think the Adolf is actually stronger than the NAACP?
I think when it's all said and done, they will be, because I think that the NAACP has gotten off mission. Like ADOS is very specific about, in terms of fighting for ADOS people or American descendants of chattel slavery. And the NAACP has done things that has shown that they've drifted away from their original intent. When you had the era in which all of these people were being lynched throughout the United States, that's when the NAACP was very instrumental. But today, a couple of years ago, when you have Byron Allen going to the Supreme Court against Comcast, and you have over 300 ADOS people show up on the front steps of the Supreme Court to support that, but the day before, the NAACP and all these Black organizations, the Congressional Black Caucus, were there to support DACA, and they didn't show up the next day for that 1866 Civil Rights Act that was supposed to protect African Americans and doing business after emancipation. So yes, at the end of the day, I know that ADOS, even as small as we are, is more powerful than NAACP. But historically, the NAACP has done a lot. But it's our job to go in and to infiltrate in many ways, to join those organizations and to kind of steer them back on track. And we have something called Project Takeover, and that's what that was about, is joining your Black organizations and speaking up to get them back on track. So yeah.
Go ahead, Akeem.
No, go right ahead, brother. I was thinking about something, but it's it feels good that oh shit.
Flashlight fell.
Now you see me.
Man, Hey, so hold on 1 minute.
Oh, you good?
Yeah.
Hold on.
No, but if you ask me, I really personally, but doing my research on this holiday, I really feel like this holiday is a sham. Like for JP saying, is this just a way for a distraction for us not to get reparation? And like I always say, they only see black people as three-fifths of a human being, so they don't see black people as possible. So they feel like why we need to invest in black people if they gonna continue to destroy and fail multiple times. And not only that, even during the holiday this past weekend, I think y'all not aware, it was like mass shootings at some of these parades, at some of these events. So it's kind of showing that are we going the right direction?
I think we are, but like I said, I think that the consequences and the effects of American propaganda that we see expressed in our community is violence and all these other things. Like I was telling somebody, there was a video that was going viral on Instagram where you saw this man walk into a store and the guy had a baby in his hand. He tried to shoot the man point blank, but the gun jammed. And I told people,
Michigan, yep.
Yeah, you saw that. So, and my thing is, like, it's easy to look at that and to blame the two individuals, the man involved, like who tried to do that. It's not easy to understand and to put the place the blame on the systems and the people who put us in these conditions, because people talk about crabs in a barrel, but they don't talk about the people who put the crabs in the barrel. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what ADOS wants to talk about. We want to talk about the systems that create these conditions, because I refuse to believe that black people are inherently violent, that black people inherently want to do these things. That is not our nature to be this way. But when you put people in small areas and you take the jobs out, you deindustrialize the communities to where people cannot afford to have a living wage, you're going to see this. And you don't just see that in our communities, you see that throughout the world where poor people live. This is a consequence of extreme and concentrated poverty. It's not a reflection of who we are as a people. It's just the reflection of what has been done to us, expressed in violence, and it's wrong. Yeah.
And the reason the reason I like Chaos Culture Radio, because this is a form of black media, and that's all. That's what I listen to. All that white media, I don't listen to more. I don't listen to no more, because they could control the narrative of what they could put on for our black people.
Right.
And Kevin saying, and shout out to the late great Kevin saying, he said it the best. We need more black media, and we've seen the rise of that, especially in YouTube. Yep. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to Leader Turn. Shout out to everybody. And we building on that. And like I said, and hopefully in the next 3 or 4 years, the black media can explode, and we could talk about it. As in our black media, we could say no. This is what's really happening. Fuck what the white media says. We know what's going on. Period.
Yeah. Because when we actually live in the community, we see it every day. The gun violence, the people looking for jobs, they can't find jobs. Like Hakeem said, there is job, but not the job people are actually looking for.
Basically,
there is job, but not the job they're actually looking for. And not only that, but I think our policies need to be changed in Washington, because most of the jobs now is going to China, it's going to Ukraine, it's going to all these other places, and it's leaving our local community and making us more and more jobless.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's stuff like that we say the Adolf. You already know. You send me articles and information about the Adolfs. That's one thing I think you guys are very passionate about, is to educate the black community and take them to another level, to a higher level.
Man, that's it. What Frederick Douglass said, JP? You're on mute.
Yeah.
My bad.
What Frederick Douglass said, JP? No, just now. What Frederick Douglass said?
Hold on, let me find that quote, because I don't want to mess it up.
Please say it. And I want everybody on YouTube, Facebook to listen to what this quote is. Because
yeah, the great.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. I gotta find it. It should be on my page, on my political education page. 1 second, let me pull that up.
See, I love topics like these, because there's a conversation we need to have in the black community. That's how you educate your mind, take yourself to the next level. you know, it's cool and all. Sometimes we have the women, we talk about relationships and gossip, but stuff like this, it needs to be had and it needs to be said.
No, reparations.
Oh, I hope this is the quote you talk about, but the quote is, "Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave." That's the one I was.
No, that's a good one, but there's one about it's easier to build strong children than fix weak men.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you said a lot of people can't come with us, no, a lot of people ain't gonna come with us, because what we're trying to build is a utopia for Black people.
Yep.
We don't need traders. We don't need buck dancing, jangling Negroes who gonna backdoor us or pick sides. We don't need them type of niggas with us. We rather throw you off the boat and let you drown with the rest of them.
Yeah, we don't need grifters, people who are interested in individual uplift. This is about the collective,
basically,
and that comes through the repair of Adolf's people. So
that's what it is, man.
Yeah, but before we log on, I want to make sure JP let the guys know where can they know more information about the Adolf, where can they join, when they can send for donation. They have donations, anything that the people need to know about the Adolfs before we log off.
Yeah. So to learn more about the Adolf organization, you could go to adolffoundation.org. Follow Yvette Carnell, the co-creators of Adolf, Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, on Twitter. Yvette Carnell is Breaking Brown, and Antonio Moore is Tone Talk. And then also on YouTube, where the political education shows have been, it's the same thing, Breaking Brown and Tone Talk. And if you want to donate to the Adolf organization, you can donate on Cash App, and I believe let me find it real quick. The Adolf Cash App tag is, let me see real quick, my bad. Oh, here we go. Let me see. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, it is the money sign ADOSAF. So Adolf AF. And just donate.
That's it. Donate.
Donate. You know, y'all quick to go buy some joints, donate to the Black community. Let's elevate the Black community to a higher level. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
chapters roll out. Oh, sorry, let me just say
you already know, man.
Let me just say this last thing. When chapters roll out, if you really want to make it different, when chapters roll out this upcoming summer, or the summer that we're in right now, join the chapter, get educated, and so we can start hitting the ground running and holding people accountable. So go ahead.
No, I agree. I don't know if y'all aware that Tariq Nasheed, he built a museum and he raised the money less than like a half a month. He raised the money for the actual museum. I think in California, right, Jordan? I think it's in California.
I know where it's building. That's right. I know where it's at. It's right across the street. They still right out. I see it's still building. So I know exactly where it's at.
So show you that Black people can, if we come together, we can make something powerful happen. If we just put our mind together, and our resources together, anything can happen, man. But JP, you know, it's always great to have you on the show, man. You know, you like family. You can come anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime,
baby.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They already know, guys. KI Culture Radio, we out.
We out. Peace. Get your mind right. Reparations.